Yeah, thank you so much for joining this session on medical writing. So, in this session, I'll be just sharing, what is medical writing actually. So, I don't go in depth. Maybe I can give you some tips and some basic information what you need to do when you get into the job of medical writing, and it's out of my uh, little experience plus the knowledge what I got from my colleagues or friends, those who work in the medical writing. I also do medical writing, but not in the industrial level. I work with an academia, so I do medical writing in terms of academic research, not into the industrial level. But with the knowledge what I have with the basic uh, information from my colleagues and teams. I'm just sharing some bit of information which will help you to get into the medical writing jobs when you get into that. Okay. So basically, you will have a lot of responsibilities when you get into the your work, and it
Hmm.
depends on different types of responsibilities you may get. Basically, some will be the organizational level responsibilities and some will be the individual responsibilities. So when you get into any organization, it's very important that you should maintain the decorum of organization. Every organization will have their own policies, SOPs, and their own system to process. Like some will follow a different method, some will follow XYZ method to develop, to work with, to culture, and to report. So every individual organization have their own system to work. So you should adapt to the system and you should work with the system. Okay, so when you get into any organization, these are the major responsibilities will come the medical writing sector. So basically, you will have to specialize the content. You will have to create the specialized content. Specialized content means it's not the basic information what you get from Google or any chat GPT, and all. You are not supposed to just copy paste. You can copy paste,
Hmm.
but you are supposed to modify it based on
Hmm.
the requirement of the organization. Suppose the company is working on something on diabetic medication, so you are supposed to take the specialized information on the anti-diabetic medication. So it depends on your organization. They may give you some resources which you can follow and you can take, and then you can adopt it. So they may give you some resources obviously, but otherwise you have to modify that. So it depends on your requirement, depends on the organizational requirement. You have to create the specialized content. So that will be the first responsibility when it comes to the organization. But I will tell you what are the different specialized content, and then you will have to develop the end-to-end publication or medical education content. End-to-end content means it should be between this organization to that particular vendor. So they may have the clients, maybe
Hmm.
some other organization or maybe some third party organization. Sometimes what will happen, your organization may be helping a different organization. So they will have some set of guidelines to develop that particular publication or particular content. So you have to develop. Sometimes your client will be an individual person, maybe a doctor, maybe a healthcare professional, or maybe someone. It may not be a different industry. It may be an individual person. So then you have to prepare according to their requirement. So it should be an end-to-end publication or
Hmm.
an education content. Then you need to document and approve in a specific system, because every organization will have their own system. Maybe uh,
Yes.
like kind of they will be obviously providing you the laptop. You have
Hmm.
to for that. So when you have that particular system. So at the, maybe every end of the day or end of the week, you will have a system where you need to enter what are the work you completed, or when you
Hmm.
have to document it, or sometimes you will have to approve it because okay, you send for a review, then your other person is already completed that, then you have to approve it to take it further processing and all. So different
Hmm.
process will be there that you will be learning over the period when you are in the industry. Then obviously you need to develop and maintain the therapeutic area expertise. So the basic point is that don't think that when we get into the medical writing or let it be any job, we cannot be expertise in everything. Okay, I'm a clinical pharmacist, but I cannot expertise in everything. I'm a
Yeah.
medical, as right now I work with the meta-analysis and all, but I focus on specific area which I want to learn. Maybe some diabetic medication or maybe something. So you should define your therapeutic experience. You should define your therapeutic expertise, I could say, and you should try
Mm,
to develop and get more knowledge in that particular area. Why?
mm,
Because this need the specialized attention. This particular job we need more knowledge on this. So
mm,
should be specializing in an area and better not to touch a area which we don't know because we'll have to
mhm,
again spend time on that to learn that
mm,
area. So we should have proper development. We should learn more things about a specific therapeutic area. That will give you more output because one
mm,
is one area you are working more. So you'll get more knowledge in that. You can do more things in that. You can do develop kind of steps over there. So that's what usually we prefer. Uh, that
yes.
is the best thing which we can do. Then you have to work
Mm,
with other peers, team members. That is
mm,
obviously like every other organization. You need to
mm,
collaboratively work with other team members or peers or your
mm,
trainers, your managers, or your HR, whoever in your hierarchy. You have to closely work with them. Then develop the best practice because every organization will have, as I mentioned, they have an SOP. They'll have best
mm,
practice so you need to follow their practice and you should make it to the best of you can. Then you need to collaborate effectively with other stakeholders. Like I said, the stakeholders means within your organization there will be stakeholders like your peer, then your manager, then your
mm,
team manager, then your HR, then your CEO. Like that, there will be a hierarchy within your organization that is within your stakeholders. You should properly,
yes.
effectively communicate with them. You should have a proper connection with them. There will be
Mm,
stakeholders outside your organization. Because suppose you are working with two companies, like your project is a
mm,
long-term project and you have multiple stakeholders. Suppose you are
mm,
part of a clinical trial team where you are
mm,
providing the content to the clinical trial team. So the clinical
mm,
trial team will have different set of stakeholders outside your organization because they'll be connected with the hospital. That hospital will have a PI. That hospital will
mm,
have a responsible person who is communicating with you. So there will be a set of stakeholders over there. So you should have a
mm,
proper effective communication collaboration with the stakeholders within your team as well as the other organizations. So that is the core
mm,
responsibilities which you need to follow when it comes to the organizational level responsibility. Okay. So when it comes to
yes.
interpersonal, this is very important. Now I'm moving towards the individualized requirements, individualized communication need
Okay.
with
Mm,
you with the team. So basically, the one which I told you before, or the last slide, it was like more of an
mm,
organization level, how you work with. But when it comes to the
mm,
personal or interpersonal communication, that is very important. So you should have an effective relationship with the end stakeholders, medical scientific community within the allocated global business unit and the product, as well as with an end objective to develop the education and communication content as per the requirement. So basically,
mm,
like I said, the same thing in the previous slide, the last point which I said that you will have stakeholders within your
yes. Mm,
organization and outside your organization. So
mm,
personal communication is very important. So what we
mm,
as a student, what we have a habit always play with WhatsApp. But when you enter into an organization, I don't think many of them will use the WhatsApp. Yet they will go with
yes.
email. So I should be
Mm,
very good in the mail. I should learn how
mm,
to because many times many of our students they don't know how to frame an email, how to send an email,
mm,
what to be the content
mm,
of the email, what
mm,
should I keep in the subject, what is the difference between 2CC, CC and all. So we should have
yeah.
complete knowledge of a proper written communication or email
Mm,
communication because every
mm,
organization, irrespective of the domain, they prefer email,
yes.
what I believe.
Mm,
Okay, so we should
yes.
learn how we we should learn how to write an email and how to address the people. Because sometime what will happen in my organization currently, which I am working, nobody
mm,
keep so madam or something. Instead, you can just say hi, and then you can
yes.
put their name. Or if they prefer any nickname, because many professors' name you may not be able to pronounce it.
Yes.
So they may prefer some kind of like nickname. Okay, so they will
Yes.
ask you usually. So whenever I join
Mm,
my firm, they
mm,
will ask you what you prefer to call. So I say hi
mm,
for Rashid. So when you are the mail,
mm,
they just write hi Rashid. So some people
mm.
call Muhammad. So they just keep hi Muhammad. So
Yes.
you can keep but you should learn whether it is
Yeah.
or how you should address them. So then you can frame your proper email. So you should have a
Yes.
proper personal or effective relationship with your stakeholders. Your
Mm,
communication should be very open without prejudgment. Don't judge anyone because that's what happens many times. So go with the
yeah.
judgment because we might have heard that supervisor is like that or that manager is like that. He is so rude and all. He may rude to that person, may not be to me. So
Yeah.
proper communication, you should have a proper effective relationship with the stakeholders within the organization
Mm,
as well as the outside organization, because you will have to deal with many of your clients. Each client will be
mm,
different, each person will be different, but you should have a proper effective communication with them. Then interact
yes.
effectively with the healthcare profession on publication content, because that is very important. Why? Because
Mm,
that is the particular part you bring the work into your organization. Because see,
mm,
organization will get the works like this. They will talk,
mm,
they will go for conference, they'll talk with people. People will offer the work. When you
mm,
are team, you should have a proper communication or you should have a proper interaction with the other healthcare professionals. That will bring the work into your organization. That is the first part. But it's not
mm,
like that you have to bring the work. Organization will have the work, but if you can bring more work, that will be additive to your profile. That is one thing. Second thing, on the publication content, it should be very effective communication, because you should know what your organization is doing. You should know
mm.
what kind of
Yes.
work your organization is doing. Because
Yes.
when you communicate with an outside person, you should effectively communicate what kind of publication, especially when it comes
Mm,
to medical writing, what kind of
mm,
scientific content you are developing. Are you developing only the publication manuscripts, or are you
mm,
developing any kind of protocols? Are you developing the scientific abstracts? There are multiple type of scientific communication or medical writing. So you should
mm,
know what kind of materials your company is making. Then you should properly replicate or properly communicate that into the uh, other people. That is one type of interaction. One type of interaction,
mm,
you interact properly and bring you works. Second thing, you should properly communicate what or interact what your team is doing. Third thing,
mm.
see, each client need different things. Somebody might be
Yes.
cardiovascular, somebody might
Mm,
be diabetic, somebody need in gastroenterology. But
mm,
even in that, their need will be different. I want
mm. Yes.
what is the recent medicine. So you can give an overall review, but I want to know in the recent medicine what clinical trials are telling. So you should properly interact with them to get the idea what exactly they are looking for. It is not
Mm.
what they are we are giving to them. We should give to them based on their requirement. So you should properly
Yes.
interact with them to get utmost information within a single or two call, because they won't be available every day to answer your queries. So within
Mm. Yes.
within a single sit, you should be able to grasp as much as information possible to make
Mm.
medical education content. So that is
Okay.
interaction is very important. It should be crispy. It should be worth enough. Within few minutes, you should be able to grasp as much as information. So best thing before you set up any meeting with any of your clients or any of your team members, just note down
Mm.
what you need to talk with them. I used to do that before I
Okay.
go for a meeting with my supervisor. I will note down point one, this should be discussed. Point two, point three.
Mm.
Like that, you
Yes, sir.
should have a proper agenda what to be discussed. It's not like okay, you tell me. No, nothing. It won't work. No.
Yeah.
Nobody has time to simply spend on what you want to know. So you should have
Mm.
proper agenda what you should be.
Mm.
interacting with them, what interaction you are expecting from them. That is very
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
constantly assist other writers, other team in your team. Suppose I know something better than them, teach them. If you
Hmm.
don't know, learn from them. So it
Hmm.
should
Hmm. Hmm.
continuous learning. We are not all time full, complete, full fledged one. So you need to share
Yes.
knowledge what you have, and you should learn what others have. So that is very important. So this is some interpersonal communications, and what work you are supposed to do in a
Hmm.
some basic I took, maybe more will be there. This is based on some
Hmm.
I have. I just took few things. So
Okay.
majorly
Hmm.
medical writing, majority of our students have an intention that it will be manuscript writing. No, it is not
Hmm.
manuscript writing. Medical writing have lot of disciplines. One of them
Hmm.
is manuscript writing, because if the company is already conducted a trial, they have all the data ready. You will have to write a
Hmm.
manuscript for them. So always
Okay.
medical writing
Hmm.
doesn't mean that it is only manuscript writing. That is one part of the job. So you will have to
Hmm.
make the publication materials. It can be a manuscript. Sometimes it can be a presentation, because you
Hmm.
complete your company is done a trial. So they want to
Yeah.
present some in front of some doctors. So they will ask you
Hmm.
to prepare a PPT. They will provide you the information. Every company will provide you the resource. No problem.
Okay.
You need to make
Okay.
it a proper material. That is your job in the company. So they
Hmm.
will ask you to make a poster sometime, because suppose a
Hmm.
company is going to present in ISPA 2025. So they will share you the abstract which they submitted already. They will share you
Hmm.
information they have, and they will share
Hmm.
you the poster instructions. The poster should
Okay.
be with this size, this length, this height. It should have
Hmm.
introduction. It should have background. It should have objective. It should have methodology. So like that, they will send you the instruction. They'll send you the
Hmm.
source also. You need to prepare
Okay.
posters. So that will be
Hmm.
one type of medical writing job. Or sometime it will be an abstract, because you
Hmm.
have your company's done a trial, and there you
Hmm.
present that in the next upcoming conference. So they will
Okay.
ask, we are going to present this particular study in so and so conference. Please make an abstract. So it is your
Hmm.
job to go to that particular website, read about how to prepare an abstract, whether it is
Hmm.
into words or 150 words. And when they ask you to make an abstract, you should be very careful, because you should look into the scope of that particular conference, because majority of the time what will happen, this trial might have concentrated different outcomes. Some outcome will
Hmm.
be cardiovascular, some outcome will be respiratory, some outcome will be something else, and you need to
Hmm.
look conference it is. If it is a cardiovascular conference, you should make an abstract which is related to the cardiovascular outcome, not everything. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
on the requirement of that abstract you need to make. So that is very
Hmm.
important. And that
Hmm.
should be within the timeline and quality. That is very important. We never practice
Okay.
that in our student life. So timeline is very important.
Hmm.
Quality is very important. That is
Yes.
two things you should be always have in mind. The timeline and quality
Hmm.
is important. If it is told you to submit by 30th of December, you should submit on 29th of December. That's what the best practice which we can follow. But it
Hmm.
should have
Hmm.
proper quality, not simply submitting something. Okay, so that's
Yes.
one expected role which we have. Then, as I
Hmm.
mentioned, you will have to work with the internal team to develop the education content, because what will happen, always you may
Hmm.
not be the expert. You may need some expertise from the statistical team, or you will have to
Hmm.
give some
Yes.
expertise to them. So you should always
Hmm.
work with the internal team to develop the education content. Then you
Hmm.
need
Hmm.
to have the proper strategic support with the individuals and institution which may serve as a resource for publication purpose. So you should have a proper support to everyone. Like it's
Hmm.
not like that I don't support that team. No, nothing like that. Whenever
Hmm.
they support from you, you should support them. That's where the organization will grow. That is very important. That is another. Then, not maybe just as soon as you enter, maybe in the later phase, you will have to train the new employees, or you will have to
Hmm. Yes.
train the interns who are coming into the organization. So that
Hmm.
also will be expected from you when you have few certain years of experience as well. So that is a major work roles which is expected in medical writing. And
Okay.
other
Hmm.
than that, then we have few more responsibilities. Develop the
Hmm.
publication material. So I already told you. So I listed
Hmm.
various things here. One is
Yeah.
PPT I told you how to make a PPT because they will have a set of guidelines how to make
Yes.
them make the PPT as effective. So what we used to do in our student life, we'll put some fantasies, we'll put some colors, we'll put some kind of like patakas in that. Don't do that. Make it
Yes.
clear, perfect. Add some kind
Hmm.
of, see, now you see my presentation. It's just a white background. White background, we
Yes.
never use white background in our student life, but in a
Yes.
life,
Yes.
professional journey, you should always prefer the white background because it is visible
Hmm.
to everyone. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the audience will have some color blindness. So you put
Yes.
color which they are having blindness, so they'll not be able
Yeah.
in the screen. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you are addressing a large community from one
Hmm.
side to the industry. So you should have that vision that you are addressing a big set of. So if
Yeah.
you have always a proper quality content, then your manuscript, you should have prepared the manuscript in a proper way. Okay.
Hmm.
So they will have guidelines. I don't want to go to that in deep. So
Hmm.
suppose they ask you to submit a manuscript into a particular journal. Suppose let it be they ask you to prepare according to JAMA guidelines. So you should go to
Hmm.
particular JAMA. Suppose it is JAMA network open. You can go to the JAMA network open. You need to read the whole instruction. How should be a
Hmm.
manuscript look like? So because sometimes the
Yes.
reference style will be different. Some will prefer three authors, then hectare. Some will prefer six authors
Hmm.
some will tell all others name you should have to put. So there will be sometimes they will follow one hour style, sometimes they will follow different styles. So you need to
Yes.
see the all manuscript instruction, then you need to prepare. Sometimes
Hmm.
the company will ask you to prepare an abstract, as I already explained you in the last slides. You will have to check
Hmm.
the conference website. You need to check the what kind of abstract they are looking for, what is the content of abstract. Sometimes they will say you to submit the structured abstract, which will have introduction, method, result, conclusion, keyword, funding, like that. Sometimes they will ask
Hmm.
you to write an unstructured abstract. Unstructured means you don't have to write introduction and all. You can just write
Yeah.
like a paragraph. That's it. So depends
Okay.
on
Huh.
the requirement, you will have to write the abstract. Then
Okay.
leaflets and pamphlets. That is very important.
Okay.
I don't know whether we are studying this during our student life, but we Pharm.D students, we are means we are teaching Pharm.D and MPharm students that leaflets
Huh.
are specific like a small A4 sheet. It will be folded like
Hmm.
four pamphlets also. I think you might have seen that leaflets and
Huh.
pamphlets. So you have to
Yes. Sir. Yes.
suppose some company want to prepare you to just advertise their new drug. So they want you to prepare a
Yes.
pamphlet. They need to prepare because they have to share that with the doctors. So the content should be
Yes.
the content should be updated. Content should be very sharp and clear, so
Hmm.
that they will have a
Hmm.
set of guidelines. Or if even leaflet also pamphlet also, there is standardized guidelines across the globe to develop it.
Hmm.
So UK guidelines
Hmm.
are there, some US guidelines are there. You can follow that whichever they want. Sometimes the company
Hmm.
will ask you to write a blog on their new
Hmm.
drug. So you'll have to write it.
Okay.
They'll be
Okay.
publishing in some kind of internet websites and all those things.
Huh.
So you may have to
Huh.
print the blogs. But that
Okay.
information should be accurate. You should properly. I recently I saw one of the blog in LinkedIn from
Hmm.
a classmate. I don't want to mention the name here.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
reading that, but I found that I just given some of my, I don't want to mention what I given the comments. So I have
Okay.
given her some feedback so that they could improve on it. So my point
Okay.
is like that you can start developing your kind of
Okay.
learning in that way. So you write,
Huh.
so people will write in a LinkedIn or somewhere you write, then you can just mention, please provide your feedback. They will be ready to, there are
Yes.
people ready to give constructive
Hmm.
feedback. Don't take
Hmm.
negative feedbacks, only take the constructive feedback.
Yes. Sir.
And
Yes.
then they may ask you to write a magazine content because suppose if your company is preparing any kind of suppose same this costumes or something, or some
Hmm.
kind of medicine products or herbal medicine, they will ask you to write a magazine content which they can publish in a magazine. So it depends.
Okay.
So that kind of information may majorly, but not limited. There are some other things also. Maybe sometimes they will. It's usually go to regulatory writing, not to the direct medical writing. They'll ask you to
Hmm.
prepare the regulatory documents because suppose the company wants to submit their report into FDA guideline, FDA for a medical approval. They'll ask you to
Huh.
prepare. regulatory guideline or regulatory material according to the guideline. So depends on the company
Yes.
perspective, company policy. We'll have to work more on that. Then obviously
Hmm.
you need to support the field of medical communication. You have to share your information. You have to share your knowledge and be careful. Once you get into the company, company will have some policies and you should abide into that forever.
Okay.
Suppose
Uh,
company is telling that you can't share any information in LinkedIn, you are not
hmm.
supposed.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
not.
sir.
We don't have a. You don't have to ask why I can't. No, nothing.
Yes.
Company
Hmm.
posts that, follow it. That's it. Sometimes that's what
Yeah.
happens when many of my friends have. So when I ask
Hmm.
the, can we do a publication together? They say sorry,
Hmm.
can't. Because according to their
Hmm.
company policy, they can't. There are some of
Yes.
my friends, they can't even give. They have so much of knowledge, but they can't even give one presentation because their company does not allow that to do. So, so if they want to do a presentation, they will have to take a special permission from their peers, from prior managers, and also if company rule is like that, follow it. That's it. Okay. The next one, you need to
Hmm.
implement
Yes, sir.
the relevant elements of publication plan. So you need to proceed. One, when you get a client, that client is not forever. They will have a set of timeline. Okay,
Hmm.
they'll assign you this
Hmm.
particular publication should be completed within this particular time. They give you 3 months. So you should be having a
Hmm.
milestone what you should achieve in next 2 weeks,
Hmm.
next 1 month, 1.5 months,
Hmm.
2 months, 2.5 months. And you should be within that month. I prefer within 2.5 months you should complete that work so that you will have a better connection with your client. They will give you more work. So
Hmm.
you have properly have a
Hmm.
plan, publication plan, and you should have a proper plan.
Hmm.
Okay, sometimes client will not say you that we need specific publication on meta analysis. They may say that I want to do a
Hmm.
publication. See, but you should be
Hmm.
able to identify what area they are working, what kind of publication which suits their professional life, or whether meta-analysis will be helpful for them or something else will be helpful for them. So you should have a proper plan what kind of publication you should provide to them. Are you getting my point? This will increase your trust
Yes, sir.
mind so that they will give
Hmm.
you more work. So you should have a proper plan on.
Hmm.
Then work with the selected vendors within the region and other areas. Like you don't have to work with everyone in your region. Like say one example. See
Hmm. Hmm.
what happens sometimes. Suppose I am working on a particular area. I'm an academic researcher who work in the particular
Hmm.
area. So I don't have to collaborate with all the academicians. No, you have to choose the selected
Hmm.
vendor, or you have to choose with the selected people who will get benefited from you, and you will get benefit from them. So choosing like that, but still
Yes.
when you are inside the company, you have to check the policies and all, then you have to work. So you will have a lot of vendors.
Hmm.
Suppose your company is working in particularly on anti-diabetic medication. You have to check
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
all different companies in the diabetic medications or in that particular area.
Hmm.
Or suppose your company is working on obesity medicine, then you need to check the other companies who is working in that sector. Then you need to collaborate with them. You don't have to collaborate every company. No,
Oh.
it depends on your need. Depends
Huh.
on
Hmm.
budget.
Yeah.
You have to collaborate. Then the
Yes.
present the findings. Sometimes your
Yes.
company will ask you to present your findings in a scientific conference. Then you need to do
Hmm.
that as well. Not only in
Hmm.
conference, many of the companies I have seen they will have weekly meetings or they will have monthly meetings where you will have to present your findings in the meetings. So depends on that. Okay, so that's
Okay.
the next role we'll have
Okay.
to do.
Okay.
Then
Hmm.
requirements, basically, you should have a certain years of experience if you they're grabbing you for a top position. But as a new fresher or something, depends on
Hmm. Hmm.
they will tell you X years of experience. If they're taking as a fresher, they don't
Hmm.
ask experience. But if they're taking as a team lead or if they're taking as a manager or something, they'll ask you to have a particular years of
Hmm.
experience in content creation for a particular pharmaceutical or healthcare industry or academia. They'll ask you to have a certain years of experience, so that should reflect in your CV.
Sir, I had a doubt.
Mhm.
Uh, so when I interviewed for the position, in their job description, they had mentioned that they need 2 years of experience in content creation for pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
But
So, when it comes to the soft skills which you need, you should have a lot of soft skill. Like I said, the communication skills. You should have the ability to work independently within the team environment, and you should have a stakeholder man. Basically, you should have a proper verbal as well as non-verbal communication. Your communication should be proper. You should have a good stakeholder management. You should be a team player. It's not like I don't work with that particular person. No, that
yes, yes.
everything is outside your organization. Once you enter to your organization, there is no uh, there is not like kind of nothing comes in front of that above your organization. So you should work with your organization team. You should work with your colleagues properly. You should have all the soft skills which they need. Technical skill depends on the area you work. You should have a therapeutic knowledge. Suppose if you they will ask you to work in the cardiovascular area, in the initial few days they will give you some resources, they will give you some materials, some textbooks, some articles. They'll ask you to read on that. Why? Because they need you to improve your knowledge in that, and you should have the proper understanding and learning on that. So they will ask you to have the knowledge on specific therapeutic area. So that's what usually they ask you to do. So they should have a proper knowledge on the area, plus you should have a proper knowledge on the domain. Suppose they will ask you to work in the cardiovascular. Now you learn the area, cardiovascular area. Now they will ask you to work only on manuscript. So they should have a domain knowledge. So they will ask you to learn about how to frame a manuscript. They will ask you to know what are the different guidelines, what are the different reference tailings and all. So that is called as domain knowledge. So they will ask you to have a therapeutic area knowledge as well as the domain knowledge. Then they will ask you to learn publication submission. So like I said, each journal will have a different portal, different way of submission. We should learn that. Then suppose I said you that that time if you are preparing a posture, you should know how to submit that posture. If you are
Yes.
developing a abstract, you should know how to submit that abstract. So you should have that kind of knowledge. Or if you are submitting into any regulatory authority, you should learn how to submit into regulatory authority. So these are the some technical knowledge we should have, technical skills which you should have. Then we should have ability to project management. It's not that like our in college life you work only on one project for a year. No, you work
Yes.
2 to 3 projects within a month or 2 months. So you should have a proper ability to manage the projects. Then education, basically for these jobs they take a advanced degree or postgraduate degree in any of the life science or pharmacy, similar other disciplines in the medical degree. Languages, you should have a excellent English knowledge. Excellent in the sense it is not very high-fi US or UK. In the Indian settings you should be, like I said in the initial stages, your English should have a good quality, good grammar, language. So that is very important. And you should be able to speak properly, you should be able to write properly. So
Okay.
I know that nowadays many of people will just copy paste from chat GPT and all. It is not
Yes.
wrong in copy pasting from chat GPT, but you should be having a good ability to copy paste. Okay. So it's very important. You should be able to reframe it properly. You should be able to write it in a proper way. Otherwise, it will go wrong. So that are the major requirements which you should have. Otherwise, above all these, you should have good humanity, and you should, in the sense, in when we go to any industry or let it be any workplace, we will have many people with the different kind of attitudes, different kinds of background, different kinds of culture, different kinds of things. Okay, so you should work with everyone properly. You should have a good interpersonal relationship. You should have a good connection with everyone. After all, work is work, life is life. So we should have a
Yes.
proper connection with everyone even after your work. So it's not like they are only for during for their work during their industrial life. No, you should be able to maintain them for the whole life. So that is
Yes.
the best thing. So I think I have shared basic things on medical writing job opportunities when you get into as a fresher. So we will
Hmm.
meet next time for any other kind of presentation. Thank you.